the name of that? Uh, Hamalachim Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Malachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei yom. That's about what I would probably do. Is that all right?
Sounds good.
Yada yada yada. But I might be singing to myself tonight. Yada. I mean, at least in person. I don't know. There might be a few. Yada 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 yada. because we thought there would be not a lot of people, like there aren't, and we thought it would be nice to be in a circle.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so spoiled.
Yeah, we'll be back there tomorrow morning. We'll be back tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
Come sit in the seat. We're going to start because it's 6 o'clock. And I'm going to, for those of you who are watching on Zoom and those of you who've been watching on the live stream, we want to wish you Shabbat Shalom. Cantor Agar is away this Shabbat. We expect him to be back next Shabbat. And we will look forward to welcoming him here. We are few in number in person here in the Fishman Auditorium, but we know that there are those who are watching our Zoom and live stream. So we're going to go through our Kabbalat Shabbat service and invite you to join with us. We're going to begin the service on page 14 of your prayer book as we open the service with Yedid Nefesh. Please join with us. Yedid Nefesh Av Harachaman Meshach Avdach El Retzonach Yarutz Avdach Kemahayal Yishtachavel Mul Hadarach Yeravlo Yedidutach Minofet Suv Vechol Ta'am Hadur Nahem Ziv HaOlam Nafshi cholat ahavatach anahelna refanala beharot la noham zivach az titchazek v'titrape v'hayitalach shivchat olam v'tikyemu rachamecha v'chusna al ben ohavach Ki zekama nichsaf nirab tiferet uzach ana heli machmad libi chushana Ve'al titalam higalena ufros chaviv alai et sukat shelomach tahir eretz mikvodach Nahagila venis mechabach Maherehuv kivamoed vechaneni ki meholam Yadarai dai 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 yadarai dai 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 Yadarai dai 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 yadarai dai Yadarai dai 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 Yadarai dai 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 Yadarai dai 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 yadarai dai Yadarai dai 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 Yadarai dai 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 Yadarai dai dai yadarai dai yadarai dai dai Yada dai 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 dai, yada dai 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 dai, Yadarai rai rai yai rai yai rai. Shabbat Shalom to those of you who walked in when we were beginning. As I mentioned at the very beginning, because there are those watching on the Zoom, that Cantor Gar is away this Shabbat. He'll, God willing, will be back with us this week for Tisha B'Av and for next Shabbat. And I think it's a blues Shabbat coming up, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. No, that's a couple weeks from now. But there will be a musical Shabbat. I can say that. So we're doing it just an a cappella, old school, sing with me Shabbat. So turn ahead with me to page 16 as we continue with Psalm 96. Yai rai yai rai rai and I rai 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 and I rai 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 and I rai and I rai and I rai 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 and I rai 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 and I rai 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 and I rai and I rai Yandai yadadai rai, yandai dai, yandai dai, yandai yadadai rai, yadai dai 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 dai, yadai dai, yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai. Yai dai dai dai, yai dai dai, shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruch shemo, basru miyam Yeshuato, sapru vagoyim, Kevodo bechol ha'amim aniv lo tava ki gadol Adonai umehulal me'od ai dai yandai dai 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 yandai dai 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 yandai dai 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 yandai dai yandai dai yandai dai 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 yandai dai 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 yandai dai 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 yandai dai yandai dai Kikolohem bamim bahar bahardam. Yismachu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umloho yalos arev v'chol asher bo az yiranenu kol atziyar lifnei Adonai kiva lishbot haaretz yishbot hevel v'tzedek v'yamim b'meisharim. Join with me as we continue on page 19 of your prayer book. We're going to join together in singing Romamu, 3 lines from the bottom of the page. Ah, nice to meet you. Hey Dominic, welcome. Welcome. We're a big fan of your dad. And hello, Terry. We're going to continue on page 19 of the prayer book. Join with me, 3 lines from the bottom of the page as we sing Romamu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu Lehar Kodshom Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Vehishtachavu Lehar Kodshom. Now, traditionally, people stand for Psalm 29 on page 20. I have, now that I'm in the kind of sitting in the circle mode, I'm going to plan to stay seated also so my mic doesn't have to be moved. But people should feel free to do whatever feels more Shabbistic to you as we sing together Mizmor LeDavid, excuse me, on page 20 of our prayer book. Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai v'nei Elim, Havu l'Adonai, Kavod v'hozai, Havu l'Adonai, Kevod Shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai, v'hadra kodesh, Kol Adonai, Ahamayim, El HaKavod, Hirim, Adonai, Almayim, Mayim Rabim, Kol Adonai, Bakohai, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover harazim, Vaishaber Adonai et arzeh halvanon, Vayarkidem kemo egem, Lebanon v'Sirion kemo ven re'emim. Kol Adonai, Chotz lev lavotei, Kol Adonai, Yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel ayalot, Vayechesov yeharot, uvehechalot, Kulo omer kavod, Adonai lamabul yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, ay, Adonai, Ozli amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo, Adonai yivarech et amo, Vashalom. Since we are small in number here in the Fishman Auditorium, is there a melody for Lecha Dodi people haven't heard in a while they might like to hear? You have to sing a couple of lines for me if you have something that comes to mind. Wait, let me say it a little louder. Oh yeah, that's the Craig Taubman one. Yeah. All right, great. We're going to do all of the verses on page 21, and then we'll rise and finish the final verse on page 22. Lecha lecha dodi, ligra kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha lecha dodi, ligra kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad. Hishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem u'littifer v'litti la lecha dodi, ligra kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, ligra kala, pene Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha. Sov ma'aseh b'machshavat chila lecha dodi, ligra kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech, ir melucha, kumisei mitoch hafecha, Rav lach shevet b'yemek habacha, Behu yachamol la yichem la lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hit na'ari me'afar kumi, Livshi bigdei tifartei chami, Al yad ben Yishai beit halachmi, Karva el nafshi ge'ala la lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hit oreri, kiva ore, kumi uri, shir daberi. Kevod Adonai alayich nigla lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Boiv shalom ater bala, gam b'simcha uvetzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi, likra kala. Pnei Shabbat nekabela. So please be seated. Yeah, we haven't done that in a while. That was fun. We're going to continue with the Psalm for Shabbat on page 23, Psalm 92 of your Siddur. Mizmor shir, leyom ha-Shabbat. Mizmor shir, leyom ha-Shabbat. Tov lahodot l'Adonai, u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Lahagid bar boker chasdecha, v'emunatcha b'leilot. And we continue privately. Maybe as well. Tzadik tamar yefrach, keherez balevanon yesgeh shetulim bebeit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu Africhu od yenuvon v'seva deshenim v'ra'ananim yehu lehagid ki ashar Adonai Tzu Ori velo hablatavon. In case there's anyone saying Kaddish on the Zoom, I'm going to continue on page 24 as we conclude Kabbalat Shabbat with Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah, B'yalma divrach Yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, B'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam omei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudasha barichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damiran b'yama v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimru. Amen. We ask God who brings peace and comfort on high to bring peace and comfort to all who may be remembering their loved ones. So we're going to pause briefly, and since we're small in number in the room, we'll invite people in just a moment, if they have a bracha they want to share, to be able to do so. And I was just going to talk a little bit just about two things I'm going to talk about. One, I'm going to talk a little bit about Shabbat Chazon. This is the Shabbat, the third of the Shabbatot of preceding Tisha B'Av, which we begin this Wednesday evening, the 9th of Ad, on the saddest day on the Jewish calendar. And we are now in the 9 days, which is the intense period of mourning, which will give way to the 7 weeks of consolation leading up to Rosh Hashanah. And so the question that the former chancellor of the Jewish Theological Seminary, where I became a rabbi, once said that conservative Jews who observe the 3 weeks, the time period that we're in, seriously, are about as rare as a polar bear at the equator. And he speculates that there's a lot of good reasons for why we conservative Jews may not take these days quite as seriously. Number one, and most importantly, since 1948 and the establishment of the State of Israel, mourning the destruction of the temple is tempered by the fact that there is Jewish sovereignty in the land of Israel, and since 1967 in Jerusalem. So that's a very good reason to have a slightly different relationship to the day. And we also do have other days on our calendar which are for mourning. Certainly Yom HaShoah, most among them, but we have a day of Yom Kippur to be very serious and to be inward and reflective. And for most people in the middle of the summer, Tisha B'Av gets a little bit of short shrift. But the one thing I want to just point out that Dr. Schorsch tells us about the Jewish people's ability to maintain a national day of mourning, like Tisha B'Av, as opposed to a personal day of introspection and reflection like Yom Kippur, is that the ability to mourn collectively tells you a lot about a culture and who a people is. Now, some people are critical of the Jewish experience and say we're good at the oi and not so good at the joy. But if I compare what, let's say, Yom HaZikaron in Israel, which is Israel's Memorial Day, and compare that to the United States Memorial Day, generally for most Americans, the Memorial Day, when we remember the 2.5 million people, I think, over the course of our history who have died defending this country, we end up having shopping, sales, and barbecues. That's really how we observe Memorial Day in this country. In Israel, a siren goes off in the morning, and if you're on a commuter bus, it stops in the middle of the road, and people have 3 minutes of silence to remember people who died defending the country. So there's something about the ability of a nation collectively to mourn collective experiences of loss, in this case, the loss of the two temples, which I think is says a lot about the character of the Jewish experience, meaning our ability to mourn is also predicated on our resilience as a people that has overcome destruction and dislocation and persecution, and yet continue to endure and continue to celebrate life and to affirm the goodness of life and to affirm God. And that comes from the ability to remember and to mourn and then ultimately to persevere and to choose life. So as much as this may not get the most play of any of the days in our calendar cycle, it's, I think, a wonderful and important testimony to what it means to be Jewish, that we have this capacity to remember, and in doing so, the ability to appreciate perseverance and the gift of what we have been able to achieve despite what we have suffered. Shabbat Shalom. So I'm going to just invite anyone who would wish to share a blessing from the week that is ending. So I will begin by sharing that I had the chance to go to Machane Ramah Yomi this afternoon, Ramah Day Camp, and be the rabbi guest for Kabbalat Shabbat services and see a lot of our Beth Shalom kids. And it was great. And I got to tell a story, and I told the story to the kids, and I'm not going to tell it to you now, but the title of my story was The Dog Who Loved Shabbat. And it's the story of our dog and why our dog loves Shabbat and the blessing that our dog receives every Shabbat and the marrow bone that he receives every Shabbat. Robbie, you want to introduce yourself? To say who you are and you have a blessing?
I'm Robert Manstein.
I'm going to repeat so people at home can. Robert Manstein, do you have a blessing from this week? Anything good happen? And if not, you could. Okay. Louise? Well, I had Louise and Myron Goldman are here, and they are both very much looking forward to their daughter Beth Ann's wedding, at her Ufruf and her wedding next Shabbat and Sunday. I had a chance to be on my final Zoom and wedding preparation meeting with Beth Ann and her fiance Steve. So it was lovely. They're a fabulous couple, and it's going to be a great simcha. Myron, do you have anything?
I'm just grateful for another week of good health.
Wonderful.
Again, looking forward to Simcha and the wedding, and that things are falling into place thanks to Louise.
Yes. Your Eshet Chayil.
And likewise, so is Steve.
Yeah, that's great. By the way, I don't know if Beth Ann told you that one of Steve's closest friends from childhood is the son of a couple that I know from my time in Israel 30-something years ago doing wujus. So I'm looking forward to seeing his parents who are going to be there at your daughter and son-in-law's wedding. Melanie.
Yes, I do have something that I'm feeling blessed about. So I had said this several months ago that I was very excited that I had a big birthday in April, and that I planned a trip with all of my children and all of my grandchildren, and that's coming up. I leave on Sunday.
You mean 2 days from now?
2 days from now.
Oh, and remind me of where you're going on the trip?
So we're going to Lake Tahoe. We rented 2 condos, like just a couple of doors from each other. And we're going to do all kinds of activities on Lake Tahoe.
Oh, that should be so fabulous. So for those of you who didn't hear everything, Melanie is leaving on Sunday for vacation with her family in Lake Tahoe. And when will you be back with us?
I'll be back
Next weekend. Okay. Well, we hope you have an extraordinarily wonderful time away with your family. So we are going to continue the service on page 28 of your prayer book. Again, we don't have a minyan in the room, but we do have a minyan with those who are watching, so I am going to do Baruch Hu. And we'll invite you to rise if you are able as we face east, page 28. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch hamevorach leolam vaed. We are seated as we continue privately with Ma'ariv Aravim, page 28. Baruch Adonai. Umavir yom umehevi laila umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzavot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam ba'ed Baruch atah Adonai hamariv aravim. Join with me as we sing Ahavat Olam, page 29. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachveinu v'kumeinu Nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha Uv'mitzvotecha le'olam vahed Ki hem chayenu b'yorech yameinu b'yorech yameinu Uvahem negeh yomam v'layla Yomam v'layla V'yavadcha tasir mimenu li'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai echad V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha B'chol levavcha V'chol nafshecha V'chol meodecha V'hayu hadevarim ha'ele Asher anochi metzavecha Hayom alevavecha V'shinantam levanecha V'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'veitecha Uvlechtecha v'derech Uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha Ukshartam liot Al yadecha V'hayu letotafot Ben einecha Uktavtam Hamezuzot beitecha Uvisharecha. Continue privately through the middle of page 31. V'hayam shmot V'samtem et avarai el levavchem. Vayomer Moshe lemor. Let's seat. Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzetchi etchem eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Continuing page 32. Emet v'emunah kol zot b'kahayam aleinu ki hu Adonai Eloheinu v'ein zulato v'anachnu Yisrael Amon. Continue privately in the middle of the page. ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה בני ישראל הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נהרה תהילות עושה פלם מלכותך ראו בניך בוקעם לפניהם משה זה אלי אנו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגלום יד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל Yisrael. Join with me, page 33, Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata v'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu l'chaylim u'l'shalom ve'ata v'ad olam ufros aleinu sukkah shlomecha baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. Please join with me as we sing V'shamru together, thanking God for the gift of Shabbat, the sign of the covenant between God and the Jewish people. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, La'asot et ha-Shabbat L'dorotam berit olam Beini uvein v'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Beini uvein v'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash. If you're able to rise, we'll continue page 34. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah Yamad divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon v'yamechon uv'chayedecha beit Yisrael b'hagala uv'izman kahari v'yimeru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach Le'olam le'amei hamaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'yimeru. Amen. Those of you who are still davening, please continue. Those of you who concluded, feel free to be seated. We'll conclude with Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael vehimeru amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael vehimeru amen. I'm going to invite, if you're able to rise, I will invite you to do so as I lead us in Kiddush, which is found on page 49 of your prayer book. Savri Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitzanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lemaaseh v'reishit Ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh Zecher letziat Mitzrayim Ki vanu v'charta V'otanu kidashta Mikamim B'Shabbat Kodshecha B'Yahava U'V'Ratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch Atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Amen. L'chaim. And while you are standing, turn ahead with me to page 51 for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula liotzer v'reishit, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, v'lo samanu mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkeinu kahem, V'gahar aleinu kechol hamonam V'anachnu kovim U'mishtachavim u'modim Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Since Hashem said Aretz Geduva Toratecha Al kein nikavel achar mecha Kakatuv b'toratecha Adonai imloch leolam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. Since we do have a minyan with those on the Zoom, we're going to invite anyone who might be in this room or on the Zoom who is saying Kaddish to do so as we continue now, page 52. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabah. V'yalmad divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala uvizman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shemei rabah mevorach le'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudashah. Barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, Damiran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. B'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. We ask God who brings peace and comfort on high to bring peace and comfort to all who may be remembering their loved ones. So I'll invite you to be seated. And I do want to just say Shabbat Shalom to those in the room, those on the Zoom. It's nice to see you. And just for those who came recently, Chazan Agar will be with us later. We'll be here early this week to help be with us for Tisha B'Av, and then back next Shabbat. So there'll be a little bit more music next Shabbat, but thank you for singing with me and making the Shabbat lovely for those of us who are here, and hope those of you on the Zoom enjoyed the service. I want to make a few announcements for the community. Tomorrow morning, Jonathan Megan will be giving the Devar Torah at services, and he will be discussing the Parashah. We are beginning a new book of the Torah, Parashat Devarim, in light of this Shabbat, the third of the last three Shabbatot, before Tisha B'Av, Shabbat Chazon. We want to remind you that Carol Nemiroff continues to lead mindful meditation Wednesday morning, only at 10 a.m. We are, there is going to be a trip of deep sea fishing in memory of Larry Cohen of blessed memory, but I think you have to RSVP very soon if you want to be on that trip. We are going to be doing Tisha B'Av services by Zoom on Wednesday evening at 8:30. Thursday morning we'll be here in person at 7:30. And for those who are fasting, there is a Mincha service at 1 p.m., which will be on Zoom. And many people, in light of the establishment of the State of Israel, end their fasts at Mincha, in light of the changed historical circumstances in the conservative movement. I'm not sure that's true in all parts of the Orthodox world. Next Friday night, we have a young family barbecue dinner that is taking place after services at 6. I think I will be leading a very more abridged service because there should be some young kids. Cantor may be doing the more full service. We want to make sure people have Tuesday, August 1st on their calendar. The Israel Scouts are coming to Beth Sholom. And we hope that you will see them, and then we'll have some dessert following their performance. I believe it starts at 6:30 p.m., but you have to check your weekly email. And if you would like to be remembering your loved ones in our Book of Remembrance, the deadline for doing so, or your High Holiday greeting card is coming up by the end of the month, so please get those in. Those are my announcements for this evening. Anything that I might have forgotten that any of you remember? Okay. In the absence of something I may have forgotten, as many of you know, during the summer, historically, and now Cantor Agar does this several times, he will sing Adon Olam to Sloop John B. So feel free to join with me in my favorite Adon Olam melody. Adon Olam Asher Mala B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa Behefsakol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'acharei Kichlot hakol levado yimlach nara v'hu haya v'hu haveh v'hu yeh v'tifara v'hu echad v'ein sheni להמשל להכבירה בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה והוא אלי וחי גואלים וצור חבלי ביצרה והוא ניסי ומנוס לי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו הפקיד רוחי בעת אישן ויהירה עם רוחי גוויעתי אדוני לי ולא ירא. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Thanks everyone for coming. Since we're so small in number, everyone has to have a little bit of challah. No honey tonight, I don't think, Iron. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, you have to wait till tomorrow. You have to wait till tomorrow. Shabbat Shalom to everyone on the Zoom and on the live stream. Mom, you want to do mosey? There's only one loaf.